Hi, Millie Ball here to take you through the week that was on HRTV. Trainer Nick Zito saddled 3-1 favourite Icebox in the Belmont on Saturday and was the subject of the Belmont 411.
A couple Belmont winners, the Terra and Birdstone, both of them were 30+ to 1. This time you come in with some lower odds horses. Is there more pressure being in the position you're in this time?
Well, it feels like it. You know, you wish it wasn't, but, you know, probably because when you have long shots, you know, no one expects you to win and you're more relaxed or whatever. So when you have the, you know, first and third choices, you figure, well, there's a little pressure. But I guess it's good pressure. That's what someone told me yesterday, so I hope so.
Now, Icebox and Fly Down, they both come in with bullet works on the tab.
Yeah.
How impressed were you with the latest works?
Well, very impressed. And, you know, hopefully they'll fire that last half mile. That's the idea. They got plenty of miles in them. They've had it. They've been training since January and before that. So, and they both run in distance races, as you could see. So, you know, distance shouldn't be any problem. We just want to see if they could just kick in at the right time. The Belmont's kind of a tricky race sometimes. You got to be able to fire at a certain point in the race. So, you know, that's all. That's the reason why we did that. And yeah, I think I did it with Birdstone a little bit that way too. And of course, you have to have the pedigree too, and you have to have the horse. So, see what happens.
Now, having shipped in here on Wednesday, I know you ended up going to Saratoga where the horses have been training. What are the benefits of staying up there?
Well, I think it's always good for their mind, and you know, they're more relaxed. And you know, if you take fighting, you know, if you take boxing, you know, all those great boxers, they train in Deer Lake or they train somewhere like that, and then they come down for, you know, for the actual fight. So, I think there's something to that.
Now with Icebox, he was so far back at the Derby when you came with that late run. Going 1.5 miles, would you expect him to be closer to the pace?
It depends. You know, I mean, I don't want to do anything to compromise his style of running. I mean, I think obviously he has a great kick, and you know, I've seen that before where you change horses' styles. It never works. Never, never, never. So you just got to hope that he gets in position and you know, a chance to win the race, and that's all we could ask for.
Now, Fly Down, so visually impressive in his Dwyer last time out. What kind of placing would you expect to see from him?
Similar, you know, similar, and again, it's basically the same type of horses, and you know, let's just hope they run their races.
HRTV's Karen Johnson got up close and personal with Uptown Charlie Brown and his 59 owners.
We're outside Uptown Charlie Brown's barn here at Belmont Park. He's getting ready to run on Saturday in the Belmont Stakes. Let's go inside and see if there's any similarities between him and Charlie Brown from the comic strip. We can see that ball in the back there, that sort of like the football Charlie Brown had. Where's your sidekick Lucy? Got to get introduced to the whole Peanuts gallery, right? This is Trap Shot, Charlie Brown's neighbor. But he also likes to go by the name of Woodstock. What do you have to say about Charlie Brown there, Trap Shot? He actually seems to be saying, I think Charlie's going to run well. Charlie Brown leaving the barn on the way to the track. Gets an early start, just around 6 o'clock in the morning.
He's real professional. I mean, he'll do a little nipping and biting, but he's a very professional. Once you put the tack on him, he does everything right. We're looking forward to the race.
You look nothing like the real Charlie Brown. The real Charlie Brown is pretty gentle and quiet. You have a bit more spark to you.
And Uptown Charlie Brown, post position number 3. Where are your other owners?
I think the entire room, but they're all over there. We have 59 bucks, you know, well represented.
Here is one of the 59 owners, Uptown Charlie Brown.
Oh my God. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me.
And this could all be Charlie Brown's on Saturday. I'm sure his owners could put it to good use, as well as trainer Kerry McLaughlin. I think that he would like to have another one of these in his stash.
Becky Witzman hit the Belmont backside to get the latest on the final Jules runners.
Well, it's kind of been in the back of our minds for a little while. Like 3 weeks ago, he put in a really good work on the dirt here, and it kind of made us think about it. And I talked to Mr. Wertheimer and decided if he continued to train well, and depending on how his next breeze went, we were going to give it a shot. And so he came back and breezed really well, and decided it was the right time to give it a try.
Does your rider communicate to you at all how he compares them on the dirt compared to the synthetics versus dirt, or turf rather?
Well, you know, we've had him for so long. You know, he basically is one of the first babies we had in last year, so we've had a pretty good line on him, you know, on all three surfaces. But for whatever reason, he's just training better on the dirt now than he ever has.
He's been wearing the bar shoes. What were those designed to do?
Just a protective pad across the frog of the foot. Just the sand on the main track at Belmont has been abrasive, and it was causing some irritation on the bottom, on the soles of his feet, and we just put the protective shoe on just to train him this final week, just so we didn't run into a problem. More of a preventative measure than anything else.
Dale, a lot has been made all week long about First Dude's size. How does that size translate into handling these big swooping turns here at Belmont?
Well, it should benefit him. I mean, he's a big, long striding horse, and the big turns should help him. I mean, he's gotten in a little bit of trouble on some of these tighter racetracks, and hopefully this improves him.
How are you feeling about his ability to get the distance of 1.5 miles?
Well, we've been excited about running him 1.5 miles. I mean, he is a big, just long striding, one pace type of horse, and I think he'll handle 1.5 miles real well. I think hopefully it's going to improve him too.
Across the Board took a look at the long and illustrious history of the Belmont Stakes.
Following Citation's victory, there was a Triple Crown drought of 25 years, until a majestic chestnut colt by the name of Secretariat landed on the cover of Time magazine, following a complete domination of the 1973 Classics. A tour de force punctuated by his record 31-length Belmont win that left those in the Belmont grandstand breathless. Not surprisingly, Secretariat's connections, owner Penny Chenery, trainer Lucian Lauren, and jockey Ron Turcotte became household names, just like the equine superstar who thrust them into the spotlight. A flurry of Triple Crown winners would follow. Seattle Slew, a bargain $17,500 yearling purchase by the husband and wife teams of Karen and Mickey Taylor and Jim and Sally Hill, entered the 1977 Triple Crown undefeated, thus becoming the first ever undefeated Triple Crown winner. His trainer, Billy Turner, saddled the colt to win the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont. Seattle Slew's French-born jockey Jean Cruguet was so confident of victory, even before crossing the finish line, he gave the crowd a victory salute. The following year affirmed in yet another Calumet homebred, Alydar, engaged in perhaps the most intense rivalry this sport has ever witnessed. Piloted by 18-year-old riding sensation Steve Coffin, Affirm fought hard to earn the title of Triple Crown winner, as evidenced by the electrifying stretch battle between him and Alydar in the Belmont. The two chestnuts raced flank to flank down Belmont's stretch, with Affirm carrying the distinctive flamingo pink and black silks of Harborview Farm, and Alydar, who was ridden by George Velasquez, toting the familiar Devil's red and blue Calumet colors. The Lasbarere trained Affirm secured the win by a mere head. It was a day for youth as New York saluted Coffin, who just the week before the Belmont was on the cover of Time magazine. It would be the last time the sport would see a Triple Crown winner, but the Belmont still continues to generate captivating storylines.
Jeff Siegel gave his take on how he thinks the Belmont is going to unfold this year.
All right, Jeff, for the players out there, you like Stately Victor. Is Stately Victor a single for your exotics?
He's 15-1. I don't think I
don't care. I want to know.
I like him on top. I'm certainly going to play him straight, but I really do think Fly Down is the better of the Zito horses. I think he's the one that I think he has to fear most. And you go by some of these others, you know, the horse that you like, Pete, Stay Put, he's got a long shot look as well. I really can't throw anybody out. I would say if you gave me 3 horses, Stately Victor, Fly Down, and First Dude would be my top 3.
In a 1.5-mile race, Jeff, we don't see a lot of these. What are reasonable fractions that we should be expecting come on Saturday?
Good point, Becky. Every time we think the pace is going to be fast, they crawl. Every time they think there's no pace, someone goes out there and flies. But I would say that a normal pace for a race like this would be 48 and change, 112 and change, maybe 113. Anything faster than that, start looking for the horses in mid-pack. But if they go real slow, 14 and change, then the horses up close to the front are going to have the edge.
And the rest of the talent got on board with the action by offering their picks for the 142nd Belmont Stakes.
What we do know is that First Dude more than likely will set the pace in the Belmont Stakes. What we don't know is who's going to be sitting right behind in stalking position, because it has one speed horse this field and the rest are pretty much deep closers. I look at Interactive, who was a late addition, drawn outside. I don't think he can help but sit a great trip in this race. And if First Dude comes back to the field, who gets first jump on all the deep closers? It's Interactive, and he's bred to go absolutely this far.
But I think you also have to take a shot against, and I like Fly Down. This was a tough decision. I was looking around. I really wasn't sure. Icebox, love him, but I just think going 1.5 miles at Belmont, it's tough to come from as far back as Icebox is going to come. Maybe they get lucky, but I just think that this is a horse who is bred to the nines to love 1.5 miles, probably be a little closer, 2-3 lengths off of First Dude.
Fly Down is my top pick in this race, and I love. He became my pick as he came down the stretch in the Dwyer. I think he's a real up-and-comer in the division. He's by Mineshaft. Mineshaft's by AP Indy, who won the 1992 Belmont. I'm also using Icebox and First Dude.
I think it's a Dude exacta. I'm going First Dude on top. I like the style. I think it's going to be gate to wire with Ramon. You've got Game On Dude, a horse I've been watching since Gulfstream in the Mike Marina barn. Hopefully they'll be close. And Icebox third.
Hang 10, Joanne.
Ladies first, Becky Witzman, who takes down Belmont 1-4-2.
You know, I'm thinking it's Fly Down. In fact, I'm really keying off that Dwyer. I thought he was so visually impressive in that race, the way he was able to just kick away from the rest of the field. He's looked good training all week here at Belmont. Big, powerful looking colt. He earned a 99 buyer in that Dwyer Stakes, and I think he'll probably be fairly close to the pace going 1.5 miles.
My pick is going with First Dude, and the reason being, when I look at this horse, I see Point Given. I was able to sit just next to him or stand just next to him when he schooled before the Preakness. He's big, he's got a huge stride. I think he's going to love the turns here at Belmont Park, and I don't think he needs to lead. I think he needs to be put in a rhythm, keep held together, and I think he's going to come home the last 3 furlongs faster than anybody else, and I think he's going to have the jump on everybody else.
Long shots the last 2 years in the Belmont Stakes. Totara was a huge price summer bird last season. Drosselmeyer, who else? Loved him when I first saw him break his maiden at Churchill Downs, and since then he was a disappointment this spring, but I just think he is better than what we've seen early on. And if you were to describe his running style, he's steady. He's a grinder. He's not real explosive, but to win a Belmont Stakes like a Summerbird last year, you really don't have to be. Many feel that he put in the best work of any Belmont-bound 3-year-old this week. Bill Mott seems quietly confident, kind of like the cat that ate the canary as far as Drosselmeyer's chances going into the Belmont. Windstar won the Derby with Super Saver. I'm thinking they're going to take 2/3 of the Triple Crown with different horses. Drosselmeyer, again, loyal to a fault, but it's not just sticking to my guns. Of any of the Triple Crown races, I thought he was best designed for the Belmont Stakes, and I'm expecting a prime-time performance from the D-Meyer.
As the field crossed the line on Saturday, the Belmont Stakes once again provided an upset victory.
They're across the track together. Uptown Charlie Brown is down toward the rail. Drosselmeyer comes up on the far outside. At the top of the stretch, First Dude, Game On Dude. They're head-to-head for the lead. Drosselmeyer trying to wear them down from the far outside. Uptown Charlie Brown and Fly Down down to the finish. First down is Deputy on the outside here. Here at the wire, Drosselmeyer, who gets First Dude in the shadow of the wire. Drosselmeyer, an upset winner. Fly Down and First Dude.
So what's it like for the first Belmont to have won this race here?
It's exciting. I mean, you know, without a doubt. I mean, we've been waiting a long time for a Triple Crown race, and we got it today. Obviously, there's a couple other legs of this thing we'd like to win, but it was actually very special to start it out at Belmont and, you know, win it for the people that we won it for. And I'm particularly happy for my staff, my assistants. They all work very hard, and I think, you know, I think they're thrilled and very deserving.
I mean, it's been a great spring, you know, starting with the Derby. Actually, before that, all the prep races, it's just been unbelievable. When we started the year, we didn't have any, to think it would turn out winning 2 out of the 3 is just unbelievable.
I mean, what's it like to have been the trainer of a Belmont horse and then now to find yourself in this position? And did you think back today to Victory Gallop?
You know, I did. It was a great day, you know, walking around Belmont, being able to walk instead of being on crutches. It was nice. But, you know, it's nice to be back here, and I feel just as involved in this role as I would training. So it was a great win, and we're real excited. And Lafitte, you are the man for picking Drosselmeyer.
Karen, you know, I've been around here for so many years, and I've been so blessed to win so many great races, but never the Belmont. And when I left here, I was like, I got to win the Belmont one of these days. And to come back and do this, and the fans were incredible, and it was just a great, great day.
What did it feel like when he was making that move? I mean, it looked like you had a lot of horse coming around the turn.
It felt great. You know, he's a grinder, so you got to ride him a long way out. So it was ugly, but I got there, you know. I was getting pretty tired as he was, you know. I mean, it's a mile and a half and pretty hot today, but I just kept him in the clear and kept him in that rhythm, and he just kept picking him up and never stopping, and so it worked.
Recovering from a recent injury, jockey Richard McLeory announced his retirement from the sport of thoroughbred racing this week.
Today is a very tough day, just having to say goodbye to something that's been the hugest part of my life. I've ridden racehorses since I'm 12 years old, and knowing that I have to say goodbye to it's tough, but I'm so appreciative that I got to do it for so long and had such a good run and got to ride great horses for great people. I guess anytime you have to turn the page and start a new chapter, you know, there's a certain amount of sadness, but you know, I'll look back on my career with a great deal of joy and appreciation. I never really had a discussion with them about one way or the other if I was going to retire for sure until a week ago after I left Dr. Heck's office, and he laid out the facts pretty plainly that I couldn't do it. If I sustained any kind of a fall, that I probably wouldn't survive it, and most certainly would be paralyzed. And as a jockey, you assume a certain amount of risk, but you know you're going to fall. And to know that my odds were so much greater than what normally would be acceptable, that would be irresponsible of me for myself and my family. And then it was just basically a matter of fact that, you know, my career was over as far as being a jockey, and we would start a new phase of life. And you know, there are things I'm excited about going forward, but I'll always miss being out there in the middle of it, and certainly the riding part of the horses. Just have to learn to appreciate working from the ground with them now.
On Friday, jockey Calvin Burrell got his 1,000th victory at Churchill Downs.
Calvin Burrell has just 1/4 of a mile between himself and his 1,000th career win at Churchill Downs, and he's lugged down towards that favourite rail which he has skimmed so many times to success. Calvin Burrell, 2 on the day, but this is winner number 1,000 for Calvin at his beloved Churchill Downs. Calvin Burrell wins the 4th on Greyheart's Girl. Dreamer's Dream got 2nd, followed by Wildcat Dreamer and Overserved.
And that's how Calvin's going to do it. He's going to do it in style. 1,000 wins, and he takes a left-hand turn at the 8th pole to hug the fence.
His favorite fence in all of the world, and that is the inside rail at Churchill Downs. Calvin Burrell, congratulations.
1,000 Louisville victories for Calvin Burrell, and he's got a lot of friends and family.
He's got a lot of catching up to do as well. Pat Day,
he's a bit off.
Almost 2,500 wins for Pat Day, so maybe another 1,500 for Calvin Burrell.
You never know. It's his track. He owns that place, and he gets a win with Greyheart's Girl for Tom Amos.
Belmont Stakes Day provided plenty of thrills leading up to the Triple Crown finale.
Here's the Funny Bone to take the lead. It's the Funny Bone in front. The Straightly Mind softened up by that hard half mile. Henry Mann comes on late, but it's going to be the Funny Bone who strides home a decisive winner beneath the patient Edgar Prado. Headlong into the final furlong, and here's Proviso, who strikes the lead right there at the 8th pole, and Fola's coming with a determined rally on the outside, and My Princess just 2 down to the finish. Here is the wire. It is Proviso holding on. They're at the top of the stretch. Checklist formidable. Snapshot on the outside, fantasy free. And here comes Bree Bone. And Bree Bone blows by them all. Bree Bone is back in stride. He wins the True North. He did it from way out of it, and he did it emphatically. He's on the outside. Tandem made a big wide move on the far turn. Fourth, now third, into the final furlong. Champagne Doro still clinging desperately to the lead. Amen, hallelujah, right at her throat ledge. Tanda continues to close. Here's the wire. Champagne Doro did it, and Champagne Doro is 40-1 on the wire. And here comes Take the Points after Jet Propulsion as they turn for home. Pinckney Hill is right there down toward the inside. Cut! Court Vision has cut the corner beautifully. Grand Couturier is coming down the inside. Expansion is there. Giopano threading his way through. And just as well, they're coming down to the finish. Take the Points being swarmed upon here. Here's Expansion, Giopani down toward the rail. Winchester on the outside. Wild finish. Winchester and champion Giopani. Winchester got him. Winchester got him on the wire.
On the other side of the Atlantic, England's Epsom Downs celebrated Epsom Derby weekend with 3 Group 1 races.
The outside Yumzane Cavalryman is trying to thread a passage. Dixie Music towards the inner, then Jukebox Jury who's on the retreat, and High Heeled who's beginning to make ground. Fame and Glory, Sariska poised to challenge on the outside. In third is Yumzane. High Heeled stays on. Fame and Glory pressed by Sariska. Then Yumzane in third with 2 lengths back to High Heeled. Fame and Glory, Sariska, she cannot get by at the moment. Fame and Glory, Cavalryman is beginning to stay on towards the inside. Fame and Glory seems to have seen off Sariska. Cavalryman's path blocked on the inside, and Fame and Glory driven out towards the line will win the Investec Coronation Cup. For Johnny Murtagh and Aidan O'Brien, Sariska second, High Heeled third, Yumzane fourth, Cavalryman short of room in 5th place. Changing course, Bikini Babe. Meisner tries to stay on with Cabaret. Still Actorina leads Merida Medici, and on the outside Gertrude Bell. Aviate pulled out into 4th place. Meisner running a mighty race. Ramouche in traffic, Snow Fairy in traffic as Remember When pulls out with a determined challenge. On the fence, Actorina, Remember When, and Meisner running a mighty race. Then Gertrude Bell and Snow Fairy thundering home from the back of the field. Inside the final 150, Snow Fairy in red and yellow from Meisner and Remember When, and Snow Fairy colliding with the inside running rail on a couple of occasions, but doing enough and supplemented will gain the biggest payday by winning the Oaks. Snow Fairy beat Meisner, third Remember When, in 4th place was Ramouche, Gertrude Bell in 5th, and Actorina in 6th. Towards home, At First Sight leads by 5 lengths. Bullet Train is ridden in 2nd. Midas Touch travelling smoothly in 3rd from Asmiel. Jan Vermeer also travelling smooth. He just needs to push out underneath Alzir. So At First Sight is giving a bold sight. Is still about 6 lengths clear. Workforce has moved through to head the chase. Jan Vermeer is back in 3rd but out in the clear. Workforce trying to run down At First Sight. Jan Vermeer has 3 lengths to find on Workforce in 3rd. Then Alzir behind these. Midas Touch. Workforce has taken over from At First Sight and is clear in the Derby. Jan Vermeer being pressed now by Rewilding for the minor honours, but surely they're all chasing the shadow of Workforce. About 5 lengths clear. He won his first classic yesterday with the Oaks. This one will complete the double for Ryan Moore. Workforce won the Investec Derby. For Sir Michael Stout, back in 2nd place. Well, very close indeed. A mighty run by At First Sight with Rewilding, coordinated cut. Then Jan Vermeer and Alzir.
That's all for this week on HRTV. Here's a look at what's coming up next week.
know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go bet a super effective. Fly down Drosselmeyer, first dude, and stately victor. That's
and prove how clueless we all are.
That sounds good to me. I'll take 50 cents of that.
I'm standing by. Lafitte, Jeff, I don't know if you can hear me, but
now they do.
I'm telling Scotty already I'm missing him making the Belmont Breeze. Is someone going to try to fill his big shoes this year?
What?
The Belmont Breeze, the Woodford Reserve folks, are they stopping by?
They are. If you're not here, they don't come by. There's no drinking on the set unless Scott's on set.